From my plans on SketchUp, I made rough drawings of each wall, labeled them to what wall it is, used the same colors I did, and then I wrote a key down on each page how much each measurement is. Then, after I did all the walls, then I made a cut list per page, per wall, listing all the different dimensions of the studs, kings and jacks and whatever, and then each of their lengths, how many I would need, and I did that for each wall. And then at the bottom of each page I would write how many 2x6s. I need 4 at 8 feet, because of course the measurements are here. This one, 123 3/4, is not going to fit on an 8-foot board, so I need that to go on a 12-foot board, and that's a maximum of 144. I just use that for my reference. I'm going to need 10 studs that are 12 feet long in this wall, which is the bathroom long wall. So after I did all these measurements and counted how many I would need off of the pages of the sketches that I did, then I took all of these summaries at the bottom of each page, and I need 2 4x4 posts at 12 foot. So I looked on all my pages to see if I needed any more 12 foots. So I made an absolute master, and I took it to the store with me. It's not an absolute master that I would need 22 2x10s and 16 4x4s and that kind of thing, and that's how I knew how much to buy. The first load of materials, the trailer was full of 2x4s. I got 35 12-foot 2x4s, and that's only half of what I'm going to need. And I also got 42 8-foot 2x4s and 15 10-foot 2x4s. They're I picked them up in the borrowed trailer, and I have been staining them with Thompson's. I stain them while they're on because it's just easier to use a big roller with the stick. Here's the extender for the roller. And then there's the rolling pan. And the Thompson's that I use, this one is cedar. It's semi-transparent. And the reason why I'm doing these, even though they're studs for the walls and they're interior, they won't be exposed to water. They will be sitting out, and rainy season is coming. They will be sitting out, waiting for me to build for the duration of the time that it takes me to build each wall. So I have stained them and then restacked them so that when rainy season comes, which is around the corner, and it starts raining and I can't work on it for a week or whatever, I won't freak out that the wood is getting destroyed, because it's at least covered. I used 2 colors. The 8-foot boards I've already stained. They're in the back here. And the 8-foot boards are done in what they call redwood. But it's a semi-transparent, so you still see the grain through it, which I really like. But I just slapped these on. You'll see I didn't do, there's drips and message. But like I said, these are interior walls, so it doesn't matter if I did a nice job on them or not. I literally just slapped them on here so I could stack them. So I have them on landscape timbers to keep them off the ground. I'm stacking them neatly so that they don't warp together. I've taken off most of the tags, and I even stained the ends, because the end grain is where most of the absorbency comes from. That's the story for those. I'm cutting. These are my bathroom headers for the long window, my 62-inch window. So I measured it and labeled it according to my pages, 66.5 inches to make my header. I'm going to need, of course, 2 of them. These are 2x6s. To go across a 5-foot span, you always go up 1, so that's not 2x5, it's 2x6. Of course, they don't make 2x5s. And that's common in our area. You got to check your own codes in your area. I cut these 2 boards simultaneously through my chop saw, so I'm labeling these so that they will match together. This will be one header. When I cut the other boards to match these for the opposite wall, that'll be, I'll label it number 2, so those 2 will match, and then I'll have straight cuts and straight headers. I also marked my scrap boards with a tiny little X here, and I measured how much is left and wrote that on here. So when I'm looking for a piece of board that's like 28 inches, I can look and say, oh, this one will work, because it's all measured out. So I keep all my scraps labeled, and that way I use, oh boy, 98% of all my lumber. There's very little scrap the way I do this. So it's good. Just a little tip I picked up along my years of doing this stuff. I've only got, I don't know, 12 boards left maybe, and they're 8-footers. This whole set of timbers was full, so I did a lot of work and yielded me all of my king studs and all of the scraps properly labeled with the dimensions of each, and they're all waterproofed at the end. Another pile down here, which is getting into my jack studs and long windowsills and the top plates. And then these are the 2x10, 2x8s, 2x6s that are going to be headers and sill plates attached to the trailer. So in all, I've got 3 big stacks. All the kings are back there. All the headers and sills are there. And then working on cripples and stuff.